Hello Sudoku friends and welcome to another treat. This one is a puzzle set by Julian Locke and he sent it to me a while ago. I did solve it back then, but I have completely forgotten all about the path that I used for this puzzle. You will appreciate the symmetry, I'm sure. I do remember that this puzzle was not easy. So I'm probably going to spend quite some time on this puzzle today, so we'd better get started. The first challenge is, of course, to be able to find the first digit where to set the hook. And having looked a little bit at row 3, I can see that these two squares must be a remote 1 and a 9 pair. That is not my super duper intellect that finds this. It's just a simple counting. The super duper intellect was a joke. I hope you got that. So with the 1 and a 9 under our belt, we need to find 3 more squares. And they have to be an 8 and a 6 and a 2. There's an 8 and a 2 blocking here, so this square must be a 6. These two squares must be a remote 2 and 8 pair. In a similar pattern, these two squares must be a 7 and a 9. So we have an x-wing of 9s here. I don't know if that is going to be helpful, but at least it tells me that these two squares cannot be 9. And it also tells me that these two squares cannot be 9s. And that might be a very handy little bit of information. But since we found the 6 here, we leave one square open for a 1 because these ones block up here. So this is a 1. So we were discussing the 7 and the 9s here. So now we have 3 squares here to be filled, and they have to be filled with a 2, 8, and a 4. So a 4 must go here or here. And of course, the 2 and an 8 again block here. So this is in fact the place for a 4. The 4 blocks up here and the 4 blocks over here. So this is a 4. And again, these being 7 and 9s, these have to be 2 and 8. We have an 8 already in this box. So therefore, this must be a 2 and this must be an 8. And we remember these, they were 2s and 8s as well. So now this is a 2 and this is an 8. This 8 and this 8 block up here, like so. We have an 8 blocking across here, so this is an 8. And we have an 8 here and here and here. Therefore, the 8 for row 4 must go here. And now one of these must be an 8. And one of these must be an 8. So 2 more 8s to go. We have a couple of 6s blocking up here, and we have a 6 blocking across here. So this is a 6. So between these two squares, we are looking at 1, 7, and 9s. Therefore, we still need to find a 3 and a 5 for this square, or this square. This 5 blocks here, this 5 blocks here. So one of these two squares must be a 5. I was looking for an x-wing here, but I don't think there is one on 5s. So I will quickly move on to something else. These empty squares and these empty squares both are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9s. That's interesting. But we know that this is a 7 or a 9, and therefore it cannot be a 2. We also have a 2 blocking over here, and we have a 2 blocking down here, and a 2 blocking down here. So we know that this is a 2. The first X-wing I spotted, I think, was on nines, wasn't it? There's an X-wing on ones because for this column 7, the only two places where we can have a 1 are these. And in this column 3, the same two rows can be ones. So this is a very nice little X-wing, which does nothing for me except saying that a 1 can't go in this square or in this square. They cannot be ones because if we have an X-wing here, that means that either this square is a 1, and then this can't be a 1, but this must be a 1, and therefore there can be no other ones in the row. Or this is not a 1, and then this must be a 1, and again, we cannot have any other ones in the row. That's how X-wings work, and they're really, really simple once you spot them. But they're not always helpful if you already have a lot of digits in the grid. I do struggle a little to find the next digit. Having said that just now, I realize I don't know why I struggle to find the next 4. Because these can't be 4s. This 4 blocks here and this 4 blocks here, so this is a 4 actually. There you go. Sometimes you just have to take a step back from a puzzle, turn around, and then look at it again, and you see everything clearly. And now we have possible 4 candidates in these 2 squares and in these 2 squares, and those would be the last 4s of this puzzle. Now I want to take a closer look at these 4 squares again, because they do rule out 9s from these squares. So we got a couple of 8s, and therefore we got 8s here. We don't have 9 here or here because of the 9 here, 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 and here. We also have 2s here. So these 2 squares have to be 2 and 8. So in effect, we now have 4 givens, namely a 1, 2, 7, and an 8 in this row here. Let's see what else is missing. A 3, 4, 5, and a 9 are missing. So this is a 3, 5, or a 9. This is a 3, 5, or a 9. And this is a 3, 5, or a 9. What about 6s? Did I forget about 6s? Yes, of course. A 6 then must go here. Yes, this is a 6 and this is a 4. That was very, very, very neat. I like that. And now we have a 6 here, of course, and a 6 in one of these 2 squares along with an 8. And since we have established that these have to be 2s and 8s, and the 9 can't go here or here, guess where the 9 will have to go now? Exactly, right here. This is now a 3 or a 5, and this is a 3 or a 5. One of these 2 squares must be a 3 because the 3 blocks up here making one of these a 3, and therefore one of these 2 squares must be a 3. And by a simple caveman style count, this square must be a 7 because it can't be a 1, 2, ghost 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes, 8, no, 9, no. So this is a 7, and therefore this is a 7. This is coming together now. Now these must be a 3 and a 5. And since these are still a 2 and an 8, we need to fill this square. And it's got to be a 6. And that makes this a 6. And 6 is the first digit that we have completed for this grid. So as it turned out, the finding these X-wing on 9s did help, but I'm not seeing any help in the 7s here. Not yet anyway. I know that one of these must be a 7. Probably. Or not. Let's get on with the puzzle. We got a couple of 8s blocking. So this is an 8. And therefore this is an 8. And we know that this is a 2. So now these have to be a 2 and a 3. Because the 3 and the 2 block up here, right? So this is a 2 and a 3. And therefore this must be a 9. That makes this a 9. And the last digit here is a 5. Still no solution to the 7, 9 here and the 1, 9 here. It's often the case that the first digits to be sort of established are the last or among the last digits to be found. Still a 5 and a 3, but we need a 1, 3 and a 7 for these 3 squares, and there's a 1 and a 3 in the column, so this is a 7, and now this cannot be a 7, it therefore must be a 9, making this a 9 and this a 1 and this a 7, like so. 7 blocking over, 7 blocking over, 7 blocking up. This is a 7. Therefore, this must be a 7. And I think the last 7 is here. Yes, we got the 6s, the 7s, and the 8s now. 5, 3 here. We need one more digit, namely a 9. Can we find it? Yes, we can, but not now. Well, we know that this can't be a 3, so this is a 5 or a 9, but that's neither here nor there. So I'll have to look at something else. What I can look at is the blocking 1 here, making this E1. And therefore this is E1. And this must be a 1. And so must this. And now we have all the 1s as well. This is a 5, 3. This is a 5, 3. This is a 5, 3. These two have to be a 9, which can't go here because of the 9 here. So this is a 9 and a 3. Making this a 3 and this a 5. And this a 5 and this a 3. And this a 3 and this a 2. This is all standard Sudoku rules and nothing special here. Nothing to see. This is a 9. We just need to enter now a 5, which must go here, and that makes this a 5, and this must be the 9. A 9 here as well. These two digits must be a 3, which can't go here because of this blocking 3. This is a 3, and this is a 4. And this now must be a 5, and this a 3. And the 5 must go here, and the final digit is a 3. It goes here. Yes. My thanks go out to Julian Locke for this very nice puzzle. It wasn't easy by any account, but it was fun and it was very well made. I hope that you all followed until the end and that you also appreciate this nice puzzle. Thank you for watching and bye for now.